Lisa never thought a horrific accident would lead to a life-changing encounter. During a near-death experience, she finds herself in a supernatural realm and meets Nostradamus, a man renowned for his centuries-old prophecies. Nostradamus reveals 10 incredible things that will happen in 2025. From global political chaos to technological advances beyond imagination. Lisa awakens with a clear sense of her mission, to bring these prophecies to light. To help humanity prepare for the challenges and opportunities of the future. He is famous for his incredible ability to predict major global events. Many of his predictions have come true. Nostradamus once wrote about a great fire that will destroy a great city. The blood of justice will be lacking in London. The fire will burn the great city. The fire broke out in the year 66. In fact, in 1666, the Great Fire of London occurred, burning much of the city, lasting 4 days and destroying more than 13,000 houses. Or did he correctly predict the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center in New York? Or a great plague will spread across the globe, originating from the East, bringing panic and changing the world order, that is the COVID-19 pandemic. Lisa is a 30-year-old woman who works in interior design in a bustling city. She lives a busy life, often overworking herself, and rarely takes time to take care of herself. One winter evening, after finishing a big project, Lisa feels exhausted and decides to drive home despite the heavy rain. If you believe in God and near-death experiences, subscribe to Heaven's Whisper today. Discover inspiring messages from God through powerful near-death stories that bring hope and understanding. Subscribe now and join us in spreading the light of faith. On the highway, her car skids due to the slippery road and loses control. Everything happens so fast, Lisa only remembers hitting the guardrail and feeling a strong impact. When she opens her eyes, everything around her becomes blurry. Lisa finds herself standing in a vast field, filled with soft lights and the sounds of traditional music. Unlike any music in the world, a sense of peace and gentleness spreads throughout her body. Before her eyes, images flash by like a fast-forward movie of her life, from when she was a little girl, to the joys and sorrows of life. In the supernatural space that Lisa was lost in, soft light covered everything, creating a peaceful yet mysterious feeling. Suddenly, the air around her seemed to change, becoming strangely quiet. A thin mist gradually appeared from afar, covering the space in front of her. From within the mist, a tall figure slowly walked out. The man wore a light gray robe. The cuffs were embroidered with exquisite ancient motifs. The light from his eyes was deep, as if containing thousands of years of wisdom and experience. His long silver hair fell down to his shoulders, along with his gray beard, evoking the image of a sage. He walked closer to Lisa. The light around him seemed to blend with the space, creating a solemn but not scary presence. Lisa did not feel panic, but instead felt a strange peace, as if she had been waiting for this encounter for a long time. The man smiled gently, his deep voice resounding, like an echo from centuries ago. "I am Nostradamus. You are not here by chance today. There are things you need to know. Messages that humanity must hear." With those words, the surrounding space seemed to vibrate, and Lisa felt an invisible power envelop her. Nostradamus looked straight at her, his eyes filled with urgency and hope, as if he had placed all his faith in the mission she was about to undertake. But the more visions he showed her later, the more shocked and unbelievable she became. A light appeared before her, transporting her to a completely unfamiliar scene. Lisa found herself standing in a dark space. But in the distance, the dim light gradually became clear. A familiar voice rang out, pulling her out of her confusion. It was Nostradamus. His deep eyes filled with thousands of years of wisdom. He pointed to a giant screen hanging in the air, which displayed haunting visions of the future. Nostradamus began with an image of a burning map of Europe. "Look," he said. "This is the vision of what humanity could face if current tensions are not resolved." Lisa saw on the screen scenes of chaos erupting in many European countries, tanks rolling through empty streets, fighter jets slashing the sky, and panicked crowds fleeing bombed-out cities. Nostradamus explains that the ongoing political tensions between NATO countries and Russia could escalate into a full-scale war. He reminds Lisa of World War I, when a single assassination sparked a conflict that shook the world. History tends to repeat itself, he says. And today's small cracks in peace can quickly become tomorrow's abyss. Lisa sees on the screen images of European nations divided into two distinct camps, forming tight military alliances. He warns that wrong political decisions could lead to an uncontrollable crisis. Leaders, driven by self-interest and arrogance, will inadvertently push humanity to the brink of war. Nostradamus points out that if this conflict breaks out, it will be more than just a conventional war. With the involvement of modern military technology, from hypersonic weapons to cyber warfare, the consequences will be catastrophic. Cities that were once symbols of civilization and progress will be reduced to ashes. Families will be torn apart. Communities will be wiped out, he said, his voice full of regret. Lisa saw images of families fleeing their homes, children crying in pain as they were forced to leave their birthplace. The sight of streams of refugees moving through dusty streets made her shudder. Nostradamus emphasized that in such a war, not only lives would be at stake, but the entire world economy could collapse. Instability would spread like wildfire, he warned, leading to a global financial crisis, causing millions of people to lose their livelihoods. The images continued to appear: empty shops, long lines of people waiting for food aid, and abandoned villages. Nostradamus turned to Lisa and said, "Peace is fragile, my child. It can be destroyed in the blink of an eye if humanity does not learn to appreciate it." Lisa then found herself standing in a vast meadow, where a strange light shone from the sky. A giant disc-shaped object, emitting a brilliant blue light, slowly descended. Tall, slender beings, with large eyes and skin that glowed softly, emerged from the ship. Nostradamus said, "You see, they have not come to conquer or destroy, but to connect and share. But their presence will confront humanity with its greatest fear, the fear of the unknown." Lisa witnessed the different reactions of nations and communities to the arrival of aliens. Some people welcomed them with curiosity and hope. Scientists, philosophers, and truth seekers were excited by the possibility of learning from this advanced civilization. However, there were also those who were frightened, seeing aliens as a threat to security and religion. Protests, even violence, broke out in many parts of the world. Nostradamus explained, history shows that when humans face the unknown, fear often overcomes reason. Just like in the period of geographical discovery, when explorers came to new lands, misunderstanding and fear led to conflict. If humanity does not learn to overcome this fear, this encounter could cause even greater division. In 2025, they will make their existence known to humans. They have had great cooperation with European countries and the United States. But the government is not yet ready to publicize this event. However, the aliens chose 2025 to let humanity know the truth, eliminating all doubts about the existence of aliens. They have appeared many times in the world, crossbreeding and using human DNA to crossbreed new ET species, healthier and more intelligent, able to adapt to living on Earth with humans. However, there are still doubts about the purpose of their coming here. Nostradamus warns that if humanity does not learn from the past, this encounter could cause serious consequences. According to the predictions and prospects that Lisa finds very worrying, the year 2025 could witness serious environmental disasters, deeply affecting life around the world. This is not only a warning but also an urgent call to action, reminding us that the consequences of climate change are becoming increasingly clear and serious. He points out that extreme weather events such as hurricanes, wildfires, and floods will increase in frequency and intensity, causing unimaginable damage in the first months of 2025. These events have already become evident in recent years. Massive wildfires in California, Australia, and the Amazon have destroyed millions of hectares of forest, affecting ecosystems and air quality globally. Some countries will see historic flooding, submerging a third of their territory, displacing millions of people and destroying crops. According to Nostradamus' prophecy, 2025 will witness major events, including the possibility of a solar storm causing serious disruption to global communication systems. He described a scenario where powerful beams of radiation from the sun suddenly hit Earth, damaging the satellites and electronic systems that humanity depends on. Imagine you're streaming your favorite show, but suddenly the internet disappears for hours, even days. This is not a far-fetched scenario, but a terrifying reality if a major solar storm occurs. These beams of radiation can interfere with satellite signals, affecting everything from GPS to phone calls, and disrupting the operations of businesses, online banking, and emergency services. Nostradamus warned that as we become increasingly reliant on technology, a solar storm could throw society into chaos, from disrupting financial transactions to delaying vital rescue operations. The scenario is similar to when a thunderstorm knocks out the electrical grid, but this time completely disconnecting the world. Not only that, Nostradamus also prophesied about Comet C/2024 G3 Atlas, which is expected to make a close encounter with the Sun in January 2025. He warned that if the comet breaks up, its debris could create spectacular meteor showers or, in the worst-case scenario, some of it could end up on a collision course with Earth. This event is not only exciting but potentially dangerous. Nostradamus stressed that unless humans act to protect technology and prepare for these upheavals, the world will face unprecedented chaos. He reminded that history has witnessed similar events, and 2025 could be a decisive year for the stability of human society. In 2025, we could see a significant increase in the use of automated decision-making systems, which could have destabilizing effects on society. These systems, powered by advanced AI, will take over important tasks such as law enforcement, healthcare, and even financial market regulation without human intervention. Imagine a scenario where an AI system decides which patients to treat based solely on data analysis, ignoring subtle human factors. This shift raises ethical concerns, especially around accountability. If an automated system makes a harmful decision, who will be held responsible? The developers, the organization that deployed the system, or the AI itself? Additionally, As these systems become more prevalent, they may perpetuate or even amplify existing biases in training data. For example, a recruiting AI may unintentionally favor certain demographic groups over others, leading to unfair employment opportunities. Over-reliance on these systems can undermine the human connection to important decision-making processes, leaving individuals feeling powerless in situations that directly affect their lives. As we approach 2025, society needs to address these challenges and ensure that AI serves to enhance human capabilities, rather than replace them. Additionally, solar maximum is expected in July 2025, when the sun will peak in activity with approximately 115 sunspots. This increase could trigger powerful solar flares and coronal mass ejections, CMEs. Nostradamus once compared the sun at this stage to a giant campfire, with sparks flying everywhere. If a strong CME were to hit Earth, it could trigger geomagnetic storms, disrupting power grids and causing widespread blackouts, similar to the Quebec incident in 1989, when millions of people lost power. Imagine watching your favorite show or charging your phone and suddenly losing power for hours. Furthermore, the increased radiation could damage satellites, disrupting GPS and mobile communications. As we approach 2025, monitoring the sun's activity becomes essential, as its effects could ripple out and affect our daily lives in unexpected ways. Finally, Nostradamus also mentioned a leap in computing power in 2025, when technology allows the creation of a human brain for only $1,000, opening up new opportunities and challenges for humanity. Scenario 7. A light flashes in Lisa's eyes. He takes her to a place of utter chaos. India is in chaos. Unemployment will increase, especially in low-skilled jobs. India will face major challenges due to its overpopulation by 2025. By then, 1 of 4 working-age people in the world will be Indian. This could cause serious problems for the country. Imagine a city like Mumbai, already crowded and bustling, now being flooded with millions of people looking for jobs and basic services. If the economy cannot grow fast enough to create new opportunities, many people will have difficulty finding work, leading to rising unemployment. This will have a profound impact on daily life. The fierce competition in the job market could drive down wages, making it difficult for families to make ends meet. As more people move to cities, the pressure on housing will increase, causing rents to skyrocket and making it harder for many to find affordable housing. The result could be the expansion of crowded slums, leading to increased social anxiety. At the same time, essential services such as healthcare and public transport will be overwhelmed. Images of long queues for medical treatment and long traffic jams will become more common. If the government does not quickly improve infrastructure and create more jobs, this could lead to widespread frustration and even social unrest. While a large workforce may bring many opportunities, it also poses enormous challenges that the country needs to confront decisively. "Look," Nostradamus said, waving his hand. Before Lisa's eyes, an image slowly emerged like a vivid movie. She saw major cities, from New York to Tokyo to Mumbai, in chaos. The streets were deserted, save for the echoing sirens of ambulances. Hospitals were packed with patients, nurses and doctors in full protective gear, running around among people struggling to breathe. This is the result of a new virus, Nostradamus explained. An invisible enemy, faster and more dangerous than any disease humanity has ever faced. It is transmitted not only through the air but also through contaminated animals and food. Lisa was horrified by the images of crowded markets where the virus was silently spreading. She witnessed the first outbreaks in rural areas, then quickly spread to major cities through international travel and trade. Unlike COVID-19, this pandemic has a much higher mortality rate. Nostradamus continued. Infected people develop symptoms within hours: high fever, coughing up blood, and multiple organ failure. Lockdowns cannot stop the spread, because the virus has mutated to resist existing drugs. Lisa saw images of scientists working tirelessly in laboratories, sweat streaming down their anxious faces. They were trying to find a vaccine while the death toll continued to rise by the hour. She also saw the desperation of families, forced to say goodbye to loved ones through phone screens. It is not just a medical problem, Nostradamus said. It has also collapsed the global economy. Businesses have closed en masse. Stock markets have collapsed. Supply chains have been disrupted, causing food and essentials to be scarce, pushing many countries into a state of social unrest. Lisa sees protests erupting around the world, from people losing their jobs to those protesting lockdown policies. Fear and panic are everywhere, eroding trust in governments and health systems. But the worst thing, Nostradamus says wishfully, is that people do not learn from the past. He shows Lisa the ignored warnings from health experts, the delayed policies, and the lack of international cooperation. Instead of preparing, they choose to live as if it will never happen. Lisa watched in horror as the scenes unfolded before her. She saw the stock markets plummeting, the red numbers flashing on the screens of Wall Street. Stockbrokers, usually busy and confident, now slumped on their desks in despair. This is the beginning, Nostradamus explained. These economic shocks are not accidental. They are the result of greed, mismanagement, and global instability. Lisa saw large factories closing, workers lining up for unemployment benefits. Global supply chains have been severely disrupted. Nostradamus continued. Some countries are unable to import food and fuel, leading to shortages. Prices are soaring, and the poorest are suffering the most. The images shifted to empty markets, where people jostle to grab the last of their supplies. Lisa hears the cries of a mother who cannot afford to buy milk for her child. The scenes tug at her heartstrings, and she turns to Nostradamus, asking, how could this happen? The COVID-19 pandemic has left deep scars on the economy. Nostradamus replies, but that's not all. Instead of focusing on sustainability, countries have rushed into a race to recover at all costs, leading to massive debts. In 2025, when interest rates rise, many governments and businesses will be unable to repay their debts, creating a widespread financial crisis. Lisa sees major banks declaring bankruptcy, millions of people losing their savings. The financial system has broken down. Nostradamus says, people have lost faith in money, and violent protests have erupted everywhere. Lisa saw people flooding the streets, burning government offices, demanding accountability from their leaders. But that's not all, Nostradamus warned. He pointed to the sky, and Lisa saw superpowers fighting each other over scarce resources. Economic conflict will quickly escalate into military conflict. Countries will close their borders, and international trade will be virtually paralyzed. Millions will be driven into poverty, and a major humanitarian crisis will erupt. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine as she saw families living in makeshift tents, without clean water or food. But the worst thing, Nostradamus said, is that greed and selfishness continue to rule. Rich countries hoard resources, while poor countries have nothing to survive on. Is there any way to stop this? Lisa asked, her voice trembling with fear. Yes, Nostradamus replied. People must learn to cooperate instead of to compete. They must build a more equitable and sustainable economic system. And most importantly, they must be willing to sacrifice their personal interests for the common good. Otherwise, this scenario will become a reality. Lisa, in her strange near-death experience, found herself once again standing in a mystical space, where a dim light spread everywhere. Nostradamus appeared before her, his face thoughtful but resolute. "I have another vision to show you," he said, his voice echoing from a faraway place. "A momentous event will occur in 2025. A leader the world has been waiting for will appear. But not all believe in his goodness." With that, he raised his hand, and a vivid picture appeared before Lisa's eyes. It was a world in turmoil. Military conflicts were spreading. The economic crisis had not yet subsided, and the divisions between nations, even between communities within nations, were deepening. Lisa saw scenes of angry crowds taking to the streets, protesting for justice, fairness, and hope. In this dark hour, Nostradamus said, a figure will emerge. He will be hailed as the one who brings salvation. Lisa saw a man with piercing eyes, standing on a raised platform, speaking to thousands of people. His voice was loud and powerful, soothing the fear and anger in the hearts of the crowd. His words were like honey, promising a bright future, peace and prosperity. He will unite people, remove cultural and religious barriers. Nostradamus continued. He will use his power to end wars, rebuild economies and restore faith in government. But this is only part of the story. Lisa felt a sense of relief as she watched peace spread across the world. She saw soldiers lay down their weapons, leaders sign peace treaties, and formerly divided communities come together to rebuild. However, her smile quickly faded as the scene changed abruptly. Not everything is light, Nostradamus warned. Lisa saw the darkness begin to creep up behind the leader. His power does not come from wisdom or leadership alone. He is filled with boundless ambition and is willing to use any means to achieve his goals. The next image horrified Lisa. Those who once supported him were now victims of harsh policies and strict control. Little by little, he took away their freedom, forcing them to obey. Those who resisted were pushed into the darkness, disappearing without a trace. Nostradamus explained, he will use technology to monitor and control, turning everyone into puppets in his hands. He is hailed as a savior, but he is also the greatest sower of darkness the world has ever known. Lisa saw a vision of a divided world. Some worshipped this leader as a god, while others lived in fear and resentment. She saw uprisings brutally suppressed, and those who resisted were branded traitors to humanity. Humanity will face a great test, Nostradamus said. It will have to choose between temporary security and true freedom. The wrong choice will lead to destruction. Lisa felt as if a stone was pressing down on her chest. She turned to Nostradamus, her eyes full of pleading. How can this be prevented? Warn the world, he replied. Humanity must learn to recognize the truth behind the sweet promises. They must unite. Rely on wisdom and compassion to overcome this test. Their fate is not a foregone conclusion. The future can always be changed if they know how to act. The image faded, and Lisa felt a strong sense of urgency. She knew that her mission was not only to recount what she had seen, but also to inspire a sense of vigilance and unity within the community. When Lisa returned to the real world, she carried the vision with her as a warning, hoping that humanity would be strong enough to face and overcome the darkness that Nostradamus had predicted. Lisa woke up with a start, breathing heavily as if she had just woken up from a haunting dream. She lay on the hospital bed, feeling a heaviness in her chest as if she still felt the pressure from the terrifying visions Nostradamus had shown her. The light of the real world made her eyes squint, but in her mind, the images of chaos, hope, and darkness were still vivid. Lisa could not let things stop there. She clearly felt that what she had just experienced was not merely a personal warning but a mission, an urgent call to action for all of humanity. The visions Nostradamus had revealed: economic collapse, widespread social conflict, and the rise of a leader who was both savior and oppressor, weren't just ominous prophecies, they were profound lessons about the dangers of blind faith and unchecked power. Lisa knew that silence was not an option. The weight of what she had seen pressed heavily on her, urging her to speak, to warn, and to inspire action. When Lisa returned to her everyday life, she was no longer the same person. She carried with her a newfound sense of purpose. Without wasting a moment, she began documenting every detail of her vision: the magnetic yet unsettling aura of the leader, the cascading chaos of the collapsing economies, and the harrowing consequences of a world divided by fear and manipulation. She filled page after page with vivid descriptions, her words brimming with urgency and conviction. Recognizing the power of modern technology to reach people across the globe, Lisa turned to social media. She started a blog and posted videos sharing her experiences, recounting her encounter with Nostradamus and the chilling visions he had shown her. Her voice, filled with raw emotion and sincerity, resonated deeply with those who heard her. Unlike the sterile analyses of experts, Lisa's message came from the heart, and that authenticity made it impossible for people to dismiss her. In her talks, Lisa emphasized a clear and compelling message: do not place blind trust in anyone, no matter how charismatic or promising they may seem. Question everything. The fate of our world lies not in the hands of a single leader but in the collective awakening and solidarity of all people. Her words served as both a warning and a call to action, urging people to take responsibility for their choices and their future. As her message spread, something remarkable began to happen. People who felt disillusioned and powerless started to gather. Community groups organized meetings to discuss her warnings, delving into topics like social accountability, ethical leadership, and strategies for crisis preparedness. They debated how to prevent the kind of societal collapse Lisa had described and explored ways to build stronger, more resilient communities. Lisa didn't stop at warnings, she encouraged proactive solutions. She urged individuals to support local initiatives, to foster trust and empathy in their neighborhoods, and to educate themselves about the complexities of global politics and economics. She advocated for building systems rooted in compassion, transparency, and mutual respect, values that could withstand even the darkest of times. Over time, Lisa's efforts gained momentum. She was invited to speak at conferences and community events, where her passion and conviction inspired audiences of all ages. Her story became a catalyst for change, sparking a movement of people committed to safeguarding their future. Lisa often reminded them, The visions I saw are not set in stone. They are warnings. Yes. But they are also opportunities. We have the power to alter the course of our destiny if we act with wisdom and unity. Despite the overwhelming scope of her mission, Lisa never faltered. Each day, she reflected on her journey and the burden of the knowledge she carried. Yet, she refused to see her visions as a curse. Instead, she viewed them as a gift, a rare chance to steer humanity away from impending disaster. Her tireless efforts became a beacon of hope, illuminating the path toward a better future. Lisa's transformation was extraordinary. A journey from an unremarkable existence to a beacon of hope and resilience. She had once been an ordinary woman, caught in the currents of everyday challenges. But through trials and triumphs, she emerged as a symbol of strength, inspiring thousands to overcome fear and unite against division. Her voice carried the power to challenge oppressive systems and sow the seeds of trust and shared humanity among people from all walks of life. What made Lisa remarkable was not merely her message but her unwavering belief in the collective potential of humanity. She saw a light in every person, even in the darkest of times. And she believed that together, people could dispel the shadows. Her journey was not just a call to vigilance but a plea for courage and responsibility, a reminder that transformation begins within and radiates outward. As she moved forward, Lisa became a guiding force, a steady light that urged the world to take bold steps toward a brighter future. Her vision of a united, hopeful world was not a distant dream but an achievable reality. Through her actions and her words, she inspired countless others to stand up, speak out, and join her in the quest for a better tomorrow. She embodied the hope that even amidst darkness, humanity's light could prevail, bringing everyone closer to the unity and peace she knew was possible. Share your story in comments below. If you believe in God and near-death experiences, subscribe to Heaven's Whisper today. Discover inspiring messages from God through powerful near-death stories that bring hope and understanding. Subscribe now and join us in spreading the light of faith.